PHP, in this video, I will cover with you 12 of the biggest mistakes an agent can make in the field. And I'm here to tell you, marketing directors, if you're watching this, if I'm you, every single licensed agent in my base shop must watch this before they become a field trainer. Every one of them. Every single one of them has to watch it and tell me exactly what they got out of the video. And you need to test every one of them so they know exactly what was in this video. This is a very, very important video to watch, because I wish myself sometimes when, you know, if you think about when people get married, no one ever tells them what's going to happen when you get married, or no one ever tells, you know, what to expect when you have a kid. And all of a sudden, oh my gosh, you have kids, you're sleeping 2 hours a night and you were not expecting that, and husband and wife, and there's a rift because there's a period where the attention is all the kids and it's confusion. I wish someone talks about anticipation more. And me, as your CEO, the way I am is I like to teach what to anticipate. So now that you watch this, you can't say you did not know this, because everybody now knows this, okay? So the reason why I'm doing this is because one of the things I firmly believe in. Here's one of the things I firmly believe in. When I got involved in this business, I got involved in this business because I wanted to build a business that helped me become financially free, and I could build a business that paid me a 7-figure income, and I can build the life that I wanted to have. And some of you guys watching this, you're saying there's no way in the world I'm ever going to make 7 figures a year, or, you know, $250,000 a year. And for some of you guys, $100,000 a year income is a big deal. This is that business. I study all industries. I study all the businesses. I'm in these different spaces. When I go to Harvard Business School and I'm spending time with 144 other entrepreneurs and CEOs, they are not in the insurance and the financial industry. They're in many different industries. And I can tell you from the personal life standpoint and a life standpoint, I don't know many industries that offer the kind of lifestyle that our industry offers. And more importantly, I don't know many companies that have the type of a compensation plan that we have here in PHP, and we take care of our agents the way that we do. So you got to know that sometimes when you're smaller, you don't know the potential of the business you're building and how much it can change your life, your kids' life, your family's life. I mean, every single dream you think about, your house, your cars, the travel, the Ferrari, the Lambo, the jewelry, the artwork, the collection of the cars you want, or, you know, whatever things you want. You want to hear your mom and dad say they're proud of you. You want to buy your mom and dad a house. You want to send them all over the world. You want to retire your parents. You want to have $5 million in your checking account, real estate properties, waterfront properties, multiple properties, you know, a mountain property, lake property. Every one of those things can become a reality with this business. But it's very, very important on how you build it up front. So before I get into it even more, think about it this way. Just like when a new country is formed, everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. PHP was a small country. Now we're becoming in 49 states. We're no longer in one office where everything can be controlled. Now we're 49 states. So now it's on you to make sure you are doing whatever you can to protect your business, because now we're national. So this country went from a small country in one office in Northridge with 66 agents, then Florida, then Texas, then Illinois, then now all over the place, which means as this happens, some of the people teachings becomes further and further and further. So some bad habits, if not addressed, can come out of nowhere. But I'm going to make sure to you, I'm going to cover 12 of the worst habits an agent can have. I cover biggest mistakes, but some of these are the worst habits someone can have. And it's on you to identify it, to shift it, and make sure this never happens with you. So let's get right into it. Before I get into the 12 habits, here's some mindsets I have. First things first, no one in your business is a worse enemy than yourself. No one is. There's no one that's going to hurt you with your business more than you. Now you may say, well, Pat, I had somebody that hurt my business. That's because you were probably not hands-on. So you were probably not hands-on monitoring people and seeing what they're doing. So bad habits were created because you're the enemy of you're your worst enemy. You were not inspecting. And if you're not inspecting and you're not hands-on watching people as they're going on their first field training appointments, this is what takes place. But I will tell you, above everything, in life, you are your worst enemy. The moment you identify this, everything else is pretty easy. You can't say it's the industry's fault, it's my mom's fault, dad's fault, upline, downline, sideline, nothing. This comes to you, worst enemy, right? So I knew that, and I had to make sure I don't make the bigger mistakes. Why? Because I like sleeping on a soft pillow. My wife always says, Pat, you fall asleep in 5 seconds. If my body right now goes from vertical to horizontal, I'm gone within 30 seconds. I wanted to come home at night, and when I lay my head down, I don't have any worries because of a big problem can come and haunt me. I want to sleep like a baby. I want to knock out in a heartbeat. So you want this. In order to do this, you got to make sure you think long term, not short term. You're not building a business just for 2 weeks. You're not building a business just for 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks. You're building a business long term that one day maybe you can pass this business down to your kids. Can you imagine one day your son is now doing this business with you? Your daughter's doing this business with you? Can you imagine one day you have a national agency yourself within PHP that's got 3,000 agents, that's paying you $300,000 a month, and your son is there, your daughter's there, maybe your nephew's coming in, your niece is coming in, everybody's helping you grow this business, and they're all making money, and lifestyle, you guys are going every single year on the same vacations together, 30, 40 family members traveling together. You got to think long term, not just short term. Okay? Temptation is your enemy, the apple. Don't be tempted. Sometimes you're tempted saying, oh my gosh, this can be a big sell and forget about the client. Let me make sure I do something here. You're going to be tempted. Temptation, no one's free of temptation. This is not like somebody is so almighty that you're free of temptation. I'm not free of temptation. You're not free of temptation. No one in PHP or in the world is free of temptation. But it's knowing when you're being tempted, identifying it, and deciding properly. This is when your character is being built. How you respond when there's temptation. None of us are going to have a free life free of temptation. It's not going to happen. But we have a decision and a choice to make here. Okay? So no shortcuts. A lot of times, some of the people that take the shortcuts are typically the smartest people because they think they can outsmart the system. Believe me. Oh, they're not going to know. Oh, no one's going to know about this. Let me explain something to you. Do you remember when we were kids and we would hide certain things, especially the boys, we would hide certain things like, let me give you one trick. Tell me if some of you guys remember this. Do you remember the lowest drawer on the bottom? You pull your drawer out and you would hide things and tape them below your drawer, thinking mom and dad will never know. They know it because they used to do it as well. So somebody put their hand there and says, boom, oh, this is where he hides his stuff. Okay? Or, like the dumbest one that we think nobody will ever find, that was under the mattress. Everyone's going to find. That was like the worst one you can do. Oh, I'm smart. They'll never find it. Or under the bed. Or if your bed's in a corner, drop it on the bottom of, you know what I'm talking about, by the side, by the wall. All of these things you and I as kids thought our parents would never know, they're not dummies. They've been through it as well with their parents. So some of the smartest people that think they can take shortcuts, guess what? We have a lot of eyeballs in the industry, from home office, case managers, from compliance. There's a lot of eyeballs. Don't try to think you can get away with shortcuts. You will end up becoming your own worst enemy, and you don't want to lose the opportunity of this business. I've seen a lot of people completely lose it in this industry because they made a mistake they thought they'd never get away with it. There were many times I'm competing, there's a guy beating me, and I'm thinking I can't, I'm thinking this guy's beating me way, and I said, some of my guys on my team would say, Pat, we have to do what he's doing to compete with him. No, we don't. Yes, we do. No, we don't need to refinance, cash out, and put money in variable annuities. We're not. But look at the kind of money he's making. Yes, but he's not going to be in business forever doing that. And our guys listened. Not all of them did. Some of them did. The ones that didn't listen, they're dead in the water. They're dead in the water. But those who listen, they're still in business together. They're still in business together. And that guy, he lost people. He got audited. He had his licenses taken away from him because he thought he can get away with it because he thought he was very smart. And he was his own worst enemy. And he was a short-term thinker. And he was tempted. And he moved. And he didn't have a soft pillow because somebody wasn't watching all the stuff he was doing. So his foundation wasn't solid. Period. So I'm answering a couple simple questions for you. One, the question is asked. Can you build $1 million a year base shop? Can you build $1 million a year income without cheating and taking shortcuts? 100% yes. Now, there's a complete opposite side of this argument. Some people will use the character side to say, this is why my base shop isn't bigger, because I do everything the right way. They're lazy. They're also justifying. So this is not an argument to say, so these almighty folks that come out of their church going and they don't make mistakes and this is why I only recruit 6 people a month. No. You're lazy. If your base shop's not doing 15, 25 recruits a month, you're not really working your business. It's like Subway that only sells 3 sandwiches a month. You're not really working. If a Subway doesn't sell 50, 100 sandwiches a day, they're not working. If in our business, your business doesn't recruit 25 people per month, you're not working. That's simple as that. This is a very simple business to make a lot of money. Very easy business to make 6 figures. Extremely easy to make $250,000. Then if you work hard in your long-term $500,000, million, and some of you guys, multi-7-figure year income. So you can do it the right way. You don't need to cheat. 2 books I highly recommend you read if you haven't already. And if you have, once a year, have your team read this. It'll make you millions. It'll save you thousands on top of thousands of hours of drama. I have my home office staff read this book once every year. Our home office reads it. At the home office, we read it. And they're like, I've read it already. We're reading it again. But we've read it already. We're reading it again. Okay, write me a paper. Boom. Again and again and again. Power of Ethical Management and Winners Never Cheat. Simple. Power of Ethical Management and Winners Never Cheat. Those are 2 books for you to keep in mind. If you haven't bought them, buy them, read them, tell everybody about it, have every single one of your teammates read it. Remind your guys every single year by the end of the year to kickstart you. This is a good book to read the last 2 weeks of December, first 2 weeks of December, to get in a proper place mindset-wise. So everybody's going to be fine with their business. And now let me get into the 12 of the, I had dumbest mistakes here, but we became a little bit more politically correct and we said biggest mistakes. But in reality, it's the dumbest. You can replace the dumbest with the stupidest mistake you can make. But we'll be PC today because it's politically campaign time while you're watching this video. We say the biggest mistake. Although it probably would be a lie to use other words with this current campaign that we're having, but I'm not going to go there. So come back. Okay. Dumbest mistakes. First one. This one's pretty stupid, and I have to say that. When does it ever make sense to do forgery? When? Never. Never. And never, ever, ever make. What if the client is 3 hours away and you have to submit the business for tomorrow for closeout? Drive. Go get the signature. You need the signature. Meet them halfway. Tell them you'll take them out to lunch if they meet you halfway. Tell them if they come over to the office, you're going to give them something. A gift card, a 20, so whatever it is. But you need their signature. Some people think they're experts in these signatures. Let me explain to you about forgery and signatures. Do you know what these insurance companies have? There's technology nowadays. Listen to me very carefully. There's technology nowadays. If there's 6 signatures on an app, they literally put all the apps in the system. The system says this signature doesn't match the other 5. You get a phone call, you lose your license. You get a phone call, you lose your appointment process with the carrier. Do you want that? No. So stop doing any forgery. I'm not saying you're doing it, but it's a very, very stupid mistake to think you can get away with forgery. Systems nowadays, because signatures go slow and they see the shaking and they catch all of it. Believe me, we see it all the time. Okay? All the time. With a handful of agents that think they're what? That they think they're too smart and they can get away with it and they're their own worst enemy. Number 1 biggest mistake. Avoid forgery. Next one. Selling insurance with free look period. This is a very dumb mistake to make. Meaning, hey, Mr. Jones, don't worry about it. What you can do is just buy this policy, and if you don't keep it within 30 days, you can cancel it. But let's just get the paperwork started today. You get the paperwork started that day. Within the next 3, 6, 12 months, insurance company sees a trend. They talk to customers. The insurance company finds out, or our case managers here that contact your customers find out that the way you told 3 different clients, well, the agent told me if I didn't want it, I could cancel it 30 days later. Now you're talking about losing your license or losing your appointment process. You don't want that. In Bally's, they used to call this a 3-day close, because in Bally's, they would say, these were the amateur salespeople. They would say, buy the membership today. Just start it with $5 a month. I know it's $60 a month, but cancel in 3 days and go work out today. All right, no problem. And then they would forget to cancel 3 days later. Oh, I'm sorry, you stuck with a contract. That guy would get 2, 3, 4 of those. He would get fired because it's called 3-day close. Free look period. Again, oh, no one's going to find out. We've been around the block. We kind of know what a free look period close is. The next one is when somebody who, let's just say the husband and wife, the husband is a licensed agent, the wife is not. The wife goes on an appointment, and the wife is involved with the business. They help out, which is fine. We don't have a problem with that. Somebody can help out because that could be an assistant. That could be a lot of different things. And they don't even have to necessarily be coded. They can help out and contribute, because many assistants that are not coded. There's a lot of people here at home office, and most of them don't have a code number, but they're helping, right? So the wife goes with the client, and the wife sells or influences the client to buy the policy. Another writing agent writes the policy, but the unlicensed person there tries to sell and influence the client to buy the policy. You can't do that. Then this person tries to set up the barcodes while they're there with the client at their house. You can't do that. The agent comes back, the husband now signs as a split agent. Okay? If you do that, insurance carrier talks to the client says, oh, this person here that came, my person that sold me the policy is Mary, but Mary's not licensed. And they can say, which Mary? But the name on the agent is Bob. Oh, Bob's who's Bob? I've never met Bob before. You lose your license. Bob loses his license because Mary, again, goes back to what? Shortcuts. But I wasn't selling. You're selling. You cannot sell an insurance policy not being licensed to a client. You will lose your license. It's a very, very foolish mistake to make if you do that. You're not that as smart as you think you are. Nowadays, investigation-wise, people can figure out anything nowadays from the insurance companies. And when they do, you lose your license. Do you want that? You don't want that. Number 4. Number 4 is creative underwriting. Let me tell you what creative underwriting is. Creative underwriting is saying something like, I'm going to do the meds myself, or, the client's a smoker and you're not a smoker. Well, what if I do something with the urine? They catch it. There was a guy who called himself Saliva Boy. There's an insurance company that they do saliva tests. And he was selling insurance policies to people who were smokers, and the cost was $100 a month for the term, let's just say. And he wasn't a smoker, so he kept doing everyone's saliva test because he was a non-smoker. Instead of $100, the clients were paying $30 a month for the term. Well, after 50-something cases that came back with this person's saliva, and they said, any reason why you have, every client of yours has your saliva, what's going on here? Reprimanded for doing something like that. You don't want to do that and use your license. That could be the same thing with urine. Again, nowadays technology is so advanced, everything can be tracked. Every single thing can be tracked. So no creative underwriting. No creative underwriting. They will find out. Oh, he has cancer. I'm not going to say because I don't need to disclose it. You got the medical bureau that's going to tell them about the cancer anyways. Whatever you think you're not going to tell them, they're going to find out. Oh, he just got 2 DUIs. I'm not going to do it. They're going to get the driving record. So you may as well tell them because they're going to pull it. So the more insurance companies see that you're not disclosing all the information that a DUI, cancer, family, any of that stuff, the more they see that your info doesn't match them, your credibility goes away, your underwriting of your policy goes lower, and eventually they say, we don't want your business anymore. Okay? I've seen this happen many, many times. No creative underwriting. Next, only selling insurance from the savings standpoint. This is a great savings plan. This is a great savings plan. This is a great savings plan. Look, yes, we have insurance policies that have incredible savings plan compared to checking accounts or CDs or many different things. Incredible savings plan. But you gotta also sell the life insurance. I would intentionally sit there and tell an additional story or two just for the client to realize how powerful it is to have life insurance. I would always tell them 2 additional stories. Let's say I want to tell you a story about Bob. I want to tell you a story about Gilbert. I want to tell you a story about Mary. I want to tell you a story about what happened over here. And I want you to know, and whatever the story was, it's a story that's connected to them. If they're married with kids, it's a story to them. If it's a single mother with 3 kids, it's a story to her. If it's a single 24-year-old kid with not marriage, nothing, it's a story. It didn't matter. It was a story connected to that person there that's sitting there saying, you know what, I do need insurance. I do need insurance. So I always made sure I covered life insurance. Always made sure I sold life insurance. So don't just sell savings. Spend a lot of time selling the life insurance component as well. Next is afraid of not contacting the clients after the policy is being written. Meaning, so many times the agent goes and writes a policy and they wrote the policy, they're excited, they come back with the paperwork, high five marketing director, say, hey, look at the policies I wrote. This is so awesome. I wrote 3 policies today. Great. They don't call the client the next day. And the next day. And the next day. So I want you to think about what the client's thinking about. Here's what the client's thinking about. Wow, I mean, he came and he got my social, they got all my info, they got my credit card, they got my check card, they got my, driver's license number, they got my check, and they haven't called me for 3 days. That's how they cancel. Versus, you write the policy, the next day you call the client and say, hey, Mary, I just want to give you some good news. Everything underway, everything's looking good. I'm looking forward to having the examiner that's going to come and do your testing on you, or whatever it may be. Whatever follow-up you have, call them the next day. The chances of the client's retention going higher is dramatically high if you make that additional phone call to the next day to the client. That's all you need to do. Call the client and let them know everything is underway. So sometimes agents are afraid to make that phone call. Even sometimes after the client buys the policy and they keep it, they're even more afraid of calling the client to talking to them about the policy or whatever that's going on with the policy. The next one is when somebody, an agent goes to a client, and let's just say, it's just an oil change. It's a basic oil change, meaning you're just selling them a term policy, or you're just selling them a simplified issue policy or an ROP. Well, it's a very simple transaction. One policy for husband, one policy for the wife. All it is one policy, right? But you go and do that after you're done selling that. Nothing matters. You can go out and go to Jiffy Lube and do an oil change, and you pay the $29.95 to do the oil change, and the mechanic never puts the oil in the car. There was never an oil change. There was just a transaction with dollars. So if you're getting the oil change done and you wrote up everything is done with, now you got to make sure the policy stays on the books. If you don't keep it on the books, there was no reason for writing that policy. Your job is to make sure it stays on the books. So that oil change becomes something that keeps the business on the books, because the oil is actually in the car. The premium is actually in the policy. You want to complete your transaction of your oil change by making sure there's a premium that's being put into the policy regularly for it to stay on the books. So persistency is a big mistake that sometimes agents don't pay attention to. They're so focused on going and getting more new policies, which should be your number one focus, going out and getting more new policies. But you ought to make sure every single piece of business stays on the books. That's profit. That's a business owner. That's a mentality that a business person has, not just an agent has. You're thinking like a business person as well to make sure you're doing the right thing long-term for yourself. Number 8, here's what number 8 is. Not running your first 10 clients by your marketing director. This is a very big mistake, because you got to run your first 10 cases by your marketing director. For instance, all it took was this. If I had a new person that became a field trainer, right? And they would go on an appointment and say, Bob, by the time you're done with your 3 appointments, call me right afterwards. Okay, great. Bob, how was it? It was great. It was awesome. I had so much fun. Okay, tell me about the first appointment. Well, we did this, we did this, we did this, we did this. And then they had this, and what kind of a commitment? You got a $300 commitment on the first one. Perfect. What do you think is the best thing for that one? Well, I was thinking about we do this, and I do this. What areas did you get stuck in? The client said something about this, and I made a note of, what is that, by the way? Oh, that's this. Okay, good. I didn't know that. How do I address the next time the client says, oh, you say this. Okay, great. I didn't know that. Tell me about the second appointment. The second appointment was did you get the FLS at the end? I did. What is the commitment? It's only an $80 commitment. They have a term insurance policy that I need to replace. Okay, was there any place you were stuck at? Yeah, I really didn't understand this New York Life policy that they have. That's that. Okay, great. Or else, what was it? I really didn't get when they said this part here. There was this part question, I got kind of stuck, but they said this, and by the way, they have like money, but they didn't want to tell me, so I didn't know what to say to get the money. I didn't want to kind of push it because it was kind of awkward. Okay, here, did you try this? No. Did you try this? No. Russ, role play, say this. Tell me about the third. But I asked those things, so the next day they would come, I would tell them, put the package together on what you want to do for these 3 clients. Come and present it to me tomorrow at 4 o'clock. No problem. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock, you come, 15-minute meeting. I'm doing this. Okay, think about this one, Okay, perfect. Got it. You're comfortable? Yes. How are you going to present this? Say this. Got it? Perfect. Awesome. High five. Great job, man. Let's go get him tonight. 10 appointments. I want you to come and talk to me. Why? Because I can give you direction to not make mistakes, because I'm going to show you what to anticipate. And a leader that knows how to teach their people what to anticipate, those people won't face the problems that other people face, and it increases their speed of success. Because it won't be a surprise. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. I knew this was going to happen, and I'm prepared, and I say this, and I have this paper, and we sign over here, we're good to go. What a pro, because a leader taught him how to anticipate that from taking place. So point number 8 is not running your first 10 appointments by your marketing director and doing case studies on it. Next point. Next point is, this one rarely happens, but when it does, it is so obvious when the insurance company contacts us, and it's an immediate loss of appointment. When an agent is fighting to get qualified for a contest, and they have 8 family members that buy insurance policies, but they decide to pay the premium for the 8 family members' insurance policies, and they pay for 2-3 months, 3 months later they cancel it because they can't afford to pay it anymore, then the insurance company all of a sudden contacts and says, wait a minute, 8 policies were just canceled, you wrote it, what happened here? They investigate, and the family members, one of them is going to say, well, she needed a favor, it was for a promotion, apparently, she was trying to go to this, or he was trying to get qualified to go to a contest to Hawaii or whatever it is. And we said, yes. Oh, did you? Oh, very nice of you. Boom, lost the appointment. You can't do that, okay? Client buys the policy, sell it the proper way. If they want the policy, they'll pay for the policy and they'll keep the policy. But you got to sell the policy properly. You can't pay the premium for them. No, next one, number 10. Selling without being in the field 10 times. Look, there's a reason why we like on-the-job training of taking our licensed agents in the field 10 times before they become field trainers. You need to go watch 10 appointments. I will tell you, the best trainers are the ones that watch 10 appointments, minimal, live. The best trainers are the ones that watch 10 live appointments, best ones. The best writers watch 10 live appointments in the field, best ones. Because you'll learn how to what? Anticipate. Oh, that one appointment when we sat with those guys, the person got a little upset. He said this, but this is how he handled it. It was good. This is what I'm going to do. Or that one appointment when the guy brought up the annuity and I didn't know it. He said this, and he asked this question, which we role played in the car when we went and sat down at Subway. So that's one I'm saying, well, okay, good. But if you don't do your 10 live training appointments with your friend, you talk, oh, I want to keep this cell, I want to keep this, I don't want nobody to buy this one. This is my cell, this is my cell, this is my cell. When you get licensed, you won't make as much money and you won't be a great field trainer and you won't be closing. And then eventually you'll say, this business doesn't work. No, it's not that this business doesn't work. You probably didn't watch 10 on-the-job field training appointments yourself. And maybe you need to go back and watch those 10 on-the-job field training appointments. Next one, number 11 is affordability. If the client says $400 a month is what they can afford, but you've ran the numbers, you know it's only $220, don't get a $400 check. Get a $200 check. If the client says they can afford $1,000 a month, oh my gosh, client said $1,000 a month, but you did their expenses properly and their income, you know they can only afford $400, get $400. Don't get $1,000. What's the point of getting a $1,000 check that's going to cancel in 2 months? No points. Would you rather have a $1,000 sale a month that cancels 2 months later, or have a $400 a month sale that never cancels and stays on the books? Which one's going to make you more money? And that's a no-brainer. Up front, again, it's what? Short-term versus long-term. Sexy on the short term, ugly on the long term. Long-term. But long-term makes you money and makes you financially free. Not the attractive just because it's a short-term attractive. And point number 12, which I intentionally put at the last one, but it's a very, very important one, maybe even the most important one, is having bad fiscal habits, bad financial habits. And what do I mean by bad financial habits? These are big mistakes, because a bad financial habit may be going out there and buying a house or renting a house where the rent is $4,000 a month and you can't afford $4,000 a month yet. And then all of a sudden you can't pay your office rent. So now you can't pay your office rent and your office is not working out, but you got a $4,000 a month rent, and you should have really only gotten an $1,800 a month rent. That's a bad financial habit. A bad financial habit is getting yourself a Mercedes with a lease of $2,100 a month when you're only making $100,000 a year. You don't need to get a $2,100 a month lease at $100,000 of your income. You need to set that money aside. You're making $250,000, you want to get a $3,000 a month lease, $2,500 a month lease? You can do that at $250,000. At $100,000, probably not. Not a good idea, right? So bad financial habits. Bad financial habits may be you just can't say no to lending money to your friends and family. You got to start saying no. Because if every single one of your friends and family is going to support your kids and your mortgage and your credit card and your school loan and all that other stuff, then say yes. But I don't lend money to my family members. I give money to my family members. That's a different story. Here's my principle. If somebody wants to borrow $5,000 from me, I say no, I won't lend you $5,000. If it's somebody that I choose to do it with, I'll say, I'll give you $500, but you don't ever have to pay me back. The $5,000 you would have to pay me back. This $500,000 family member, you don't ever have to pay me back. This is yours. Thank you so much. But I need $5,000. I totally get it, but I can only afford to give $500, and I don't believe in lending money to friends and family because I don't want to sour the relationship. But you can take this money and you don't ever have to give it back to me. Thank you. I don't even bring it up. You won't even need to bring it up. It's as if it never happened. Okay, it's a neutral feeling. They're not disappointed. They're not happy. It's neutral. But if you don't give, you lend them money and then they don't pay you back. Now they don't want to come to Christmas party. You don't want to go to Christmas party. You always kind of look at them as a, you don't want to have that. Bad financial habits may be you're not paying your child support payment. For instance, one of the things that different Department of Insurance will do, states will do, is let's just say Bob is licensed. Bob is licensed and Bob is paying his child support payments and he gets licensed and appointed. And insurance companies appoint him. 3 months later, Bob hasn't paid his child support payment. The insurance companies have to report that to the Department of Insurance. When the state asks to garnish your wages, Department of Insurance finds that it's a state thing. Then insurance companies have to drop their appointment. Now, whatever policies you wrote, PHP agency cannot pay you because you're not appointed. So someone said, oh, I thought he was licensed and appointed. Is he getting paid not being licensed and appointed? No, no, no. He hasn't paid his child support payment. He hasn't paid his child support payment. Pay your child support payment. Make your commitments on that. Your tax liens, that's another one. You know, don't say, I'm gonna go, this year I'm not gonna pay any taxes. I'm also gonna go one more year without paying taxes. You just pay your taxes. No one likes paying taxes ever, but it's something you do not wanna deal with the IRS because they don't have a customer service line. They can treat you whatever way they want because they don't have to report to anybody. It's the IRS. So don't make a mistake with the IRS. Pay your taxes. Do it properly. You don't want those headaches. Credit card, debt, whatever it is. Have your financials in place for your office to stay in place. You know how many times when I saw somebody's office getting closed down, it's simply because they had bad personal financial habits. They made a lot of money and they started spending their money. Oh my God, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy that, I'm gonna buy that. You're making money, it's great. Set aside 50 grand, set aside 100 grand, set aside $250,000, set aside $500,000, set aside $1 million. Set aside money while you're doing that, live the lifestyle, enjoy it, but make sure you're also setting aside your cash savings and your personal financial habits are proper. When Jen and I first got married and we started PHP, I pulled my wife aside and said, babe, I know you want me to buy you a house. I said, but we're starting a company. I'm not gonna buy a house for 5 years. I just want you to know that. She says, but babe, well, we can afford it. I said, I get it, babe. 5 years, we're not buying a house. She said, okay. So we started PHP. We didn't get the exotic cars. We had a GMC Acadia. GMC Acadia is a regular car. When we started PHP, we didn't go get the Ferraris and the Lambos. Now I can get 20 Ferraris if I wanted to. I wouldn't be affected by it. I can get 100 Ferraris a month if I wanted to. I wouldn't be affected. But it's a different story now than it was 5 years ago when I started the business, or 7 years ago when we started PHP. It's financial responsibilities. We were never once late on any employee payroll, on any commission check, never, because we have to make sure financially we do the right thing at the top of the company, debt-free. All of that stuff was very important. So going back to my message to you, listen, have every single one of your licensed agents watch this, watch it again, train out of it. In your offices when you're having licensed meetings, pull all your licensed agents aside, have everybody watch it together, pause, play it again, pause, play it again, pause, play it again, and ask questions. What did you think about what Pat said here? What did you think about what Pat said here? What did you think about what Pat said here? But I'm going to tell you this. Those hierarchies that teach out of this, your speed, well, Pat, this is going to slow us down. It's actually going to increase your speed. It's going to make you grow faster. I guarantee you. It's going to make you grow faster because what will happen is you will attract the right quality type of people that say, my gosh, this is the stuff that's important to this company. At the last sales company, no one talked about this, let alone the CEO. The CEO's talking about this stuff. I've never seen this before. I want to commit even more. You got to realize there are good people that want to find good companies that want to do the right things. And if you're avoiding talking about these things, it only hurts you business-wise. So you do this the right way and you comfortably talk about this, your speed goes to a whole different level, and all of a sudden you're sitting there saying, man, I'm making more money than ever before. Business is solid. Everyone's doing the right things. I don't have to worry about that guy hurting himself or this guy losing his license or that guy doing this because everybody's good. I'm so glad we did this. I'm so glad we decided to build our business on a solid foundation. That's what this is all about. So watch the video, study the video, share it with your peers, teach it at your office, and make sure everybody is watching this once every 6 months minimum. You can do it twice every 6 months, once a quarter, but at least once every 6 months, you sit here and watch this. It should be a 37-minute video, whatever the timeline is. I don't know how many minutes it is right now. I'm gonna say 36 to 38-minute video is what it's gonna be to watch and see what the content is all about. On making sure you don't make one of these 12 mistakes that's hurt many people in the industry, that they were this close for being multi-7-figure year earners just because they thought they were smart enough to take some shortcuts. Hey PHP, love you. I'm saying this stuff to you because I want to see all of your dreams become a reality. I want to see you get all the juice that this industry and PHP offers, but it's on you to make sure you're disciplined and you pay attention to type of details that big time leaders pay attention to so they don't put themselves in a position that hurts themselves and their peers because they're always teaching them what to anticipate that's coming next. Take care everybody. Bye-bye.